Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we have another piece of news for Tesla stock. This is aside from the most recent news video that I released talking about the sales numbers compared to the rest of the other companies in the world right now. As many of you already know, Tesla is dominating sales, but this doesn't even have anything to do with sales. This is all about scaling their business. So this recent piece of news discusses the actions Tesla is taking to scale their business even more, and we'll get into that in just a few seconds. But as always, if you do appreciate the Tesla content, then please make sure to smash that like button. And also, just for those of you that are curious, we'll go ahead and check out the Tesla share price right now. It is currently at $1,473.53 per share, and we have a minus 0.79% drop for today so far. It actually started out pretty well until we hit this marker right here, and that's when it went under the line. So after around 11 a.m., it started going into some losses for today, and we had that downturn start at 9:50 a.m. So not the greatest Tesla day so far, but honestly, any day that is red for Tesla that's a drop day that is actually under a 2% loss, I consider that a solid day considering that Tesla has these big movements up and down, and it is a volatile stock. So I'm honestly okay with a day like today for sure, because a minus 0.79% drop for Tesla is not really a big deal. Yes, it may be a big deal to some people for another stock, but for Tesla, I'm used to these larger movements. So this is actually, I would consider a win for me, because it's really as good as it gets for a red day for Tesla. So now that we've discussed the current share price for Tesla, I'm going to go ahead and head over to Electric, in which they released a recent article about Tesla that I thought was interesting enough to share with you all. So as always, thank you to Electric and author Fred Lambert for this information. This is one of my favorite sites to go to for just Tesla content and information that I think is valuable for the company and for the stock. So this article title states, Tesla is working on massive sales presence expansion with new markets. So just addressing this title alone, it's discussing sales presence expansion. So expansion is the key thing we want to focus on here. And as I've mentioned in previous videos with other stocks as well, I've referenced Amazon stock and Google and other huge companies that have managed to scale their business tremendously over time. And a lot of that does go hand in hand with some of these companies in the past making pretty much no profits at all, because they're investing every single bit of their profits into the future to make sure that they can keep on scaling their business. And in my opinion, I think scaling a business is sometimes better than profitability. If you're a small, innovative company starting out and you're growing and growing over the years, and you eventually start making some really good revenue, I think that scaling your business is one of the best possible ways that you can ensure that you're a dominant company in that business sector in the future, because you want to get as big of a position and a market share as you can. So you have to be thinking long term in comparison to a lot of the other companies thinking in the short term. Long term is really the key, and I think Tesla does a great job of thinking long term, and they also do a great job of thinking from the atoms up, thinking from the smallest details they can improve on to help with the overall efficiency of the company. So like I've said previously, I think scaling a business is huge. I'm that type of person, whereas profitability doesn't mean that much to me if they are using those profits to scale the business, which results in them not having a lot of profit. So even in the most recent quarter, I would have probably been okay if they said that they weren't profitable, because I understand that they are likely scaling their business. But as we know, they announced profitability, so good news for that as well. But let's get farther into this article to see what this is actually talking about. As the article states, Tesla is working on a significant expansion of its retail and sales presence, including expansions in new markets, as it expects to achieve massive growth in the second half of the year. So as I mentioned earlier, if you really want to scale your business and achieve that growth that you're looking for, you have to reinvest in expansion. So that's exactly what they're doing with this article here. And further on, it states, just over a year ago, Elon Musk was talking about shutting down almost all of Tesla stores and moving to an online-only sales model. A few months later, he reversed the strategy, and Tesla has been slowly growing its retail presence since then. Now Electric has learned that Tesla is planning a significant expansion of its retail presence in North America and abroad with a focus on China. Tesla's deliveries during the first half of 2020 were affected by the Rona, but the automaker has maintained its overall 2020 targets and plans to deliver around twice as many vehicles in the second half of this year as it did in the first. And then it also mentions to facilitate massive increase in sales, Tesla is expanding its sales force in several markets. Now, in this paragraph right here, it continues to discuss the various pieces of evidence that we have noting this expansion within the Tesla company, and this includes new job listings and several retail locations, and one of them is in Tucson, Arizona, in which Tesla currently has a service station in the old Pueblo, but is also looking to hire sales advisors to expand its retail presence, it says. And then in El Paso, Texas, the same situation as we mentioned within Tucson. Now, this says that Tesla has a service center, but it now plans to open a gallery in the Sun City. And then another one is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. After a service center, Tesla is now looking to open a gallery in the Cream City. And then in Smithtown, New York, Tesla has been gradually expanding east on Long Island, and now it is looking to open a store in Smithtown, according to a new job listing. So these are just a few expansions that have been mentioned so far, according to what sources have been able to find with job listings. So we have new locations in Tucson, Arizona, El Paso, Texas, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Smithtown, New York. So some of these are galleries, some of these are service centers, and some of these are just simply stores. Now, unfortunately, where I live, I have no idea what a Tesla center looks like, a Tesla dealership. I've never seen a Tesla gallery or even a Tesla store. I live in Kentucky, so if you want a Tesla, I think the closest place you can go to is Ohio, where they have a dealership, if you actually want to check out the vehicle in person yourself. And now that I'm thinking about it, that could actually be a pretty solid opportunity for Tesla to take advantage of, because in Kentucky, I have never personally seen a Tesla vehicle at all in person. Honestly, I've never really cared about paying attention to the brands of the vehicles or anything like that up until I started getting into Tesla stock and learning more about the company. So I've never really paid attention, so maybe they've actually driven by me before and I just wasn't paying attention. But I can't ever think of a moment where I actually remember seeing one in person. So now that I'm thinking about it, if they really want to expand their business further, they can actually maybe try to focus on some of these states that have no service centers, no dealerships or anything like that, and that could really open up a new market for people that would be willing to transition from ICE vehicles to EVs. I would be one of those people. If I actually do buy a vehicle, I guess I could call myself a financial minimalist in that sense. I'm not really a minimalist in everything else because I do have bad spending habits sometimes and things like that, but I have managed to try not to buy a vehicle even throughout my college career. The past 4 years in college, I've managed to do okay without a vehicle, and I just know that it saves me a lot of money on car insurance, car payments as well. And so I've been all right so far without a vehicle. But if I were to finally buy a vehicle, if I decided to make that decision and actually get a vehicle to purchase, then it would probably be an EV. And if it's an EV, it's most certainly going to be a Tesla, because I just know from all of the research that I've done for these videos and just all of this Tesla content that I've kept up with as well, that Tesla is just the way to go if you want an EV, and the most efficient one for your money, in my opinion. So just to add in a personal perspective into this piece of news, I think that Tesla could really benefit a lot from adding in maybe a dealership. It doesn't even have to be a dealership, but just some sort of Tesla services in Kentucky. I mean, there may be some sort of service, but all I know is that there's not a dealership, so I'm assuming it would be a little bit more difficult for a Tesla to get serviced in Kentucky, where there's not really a huge market, and they haven't really expanded into Kentucky just yet. I think the closest EV charging station is like an hour away to me. So there's a lot of potential for expansion in some of these areas in the United States, like my state, and then you also have potential in these rural areas as well. I can guarantee that once some of these people that are used to normal ICE vehicles, once they just see how much better the performance is on a Tesla vehicle compared to just your typical Toyota Camry or something like that, once they realize that performance is there, other than just the fact that it saves the world with renewable energy, I think that's really when people start realizing that EVs are the way to go, because that's what changes people's mind. Yes, you can convince some people with the whole renewable energy aspect, but what really changes people's mind is when you tell them they are getting a better product for the money, a more efficient product, a product with better features, and a higher performance product. As we know, I've seen many videos of people driving in the Tesla. The 0 to 60 on some of these models are crazy, especially the performance model. So I think there's a lot of potential for not only just these expansions as well with these retail locations, but I think there's some potential as well with some of these states that don't have a lot of Tesla interaction right now. So there's a lot of potential in that. And I have noticed Nikola Motors, call it whatever you want. You know, I even think they're kind of a joke company as well. I'm one of those people in that boat. But even Nikola Motors on their plan for the hydrogen fueling stations and all that, and honestly, I don't see those coming up until many years in the future if they actually do even happen. But with Nikola Motors, at least with their plan, they are planning on focusing on many of these eastern locations. And the reason they're doing that is because Tesla doesn't have as big of a footprint at those locations compared to what they have in the western locations, like especially in California and other states like that, Nevada. So in my opinion, there's a lot of potential for expansion. I would love to see, you know, maybe aside from the upcoming additional factory, I would love to see it in India, of course. I think that would be an ideal location for the next Gigafactory, but I would honestly like to see another Gigafactory in China as well, just because of how easy it has been for them to build a factory extremely fast from the ground up and get everything going. Because as we know, the people at the Shanghai factory are extremely efficient. That's what they are really good at. So I would love to see an additional factory in China as well, once we get a bigger footprint at these eastern US locations. And then of course, after a potential Gigafactory in India. Because once we solve this problem of more Tesla services and more Tesla accessibility in the eastern US, and of course, maybe a Gigafactory in India, then if you really want to go towards efficiency, I think there's a lot of potential for another factory in China. And as we know, the Gigafactory Berlin is being constructed as well, so there's a lot of potential here. And I love seeing this news where it talks about Tesla expanding in their markets even more. Now, yes, these are just a few service centers like in Arizona and a few of the big states as well, but it still emphasizes the core factor that Tesla has a focus on expansion and scaling their business, and that's what really matters to me as an investor and someone that is just interested and also loves this company. And then it also mentions expansions aside from ones just in the US, such as how Tesla is adding new locations in Canada. This includes a new store in Laval, Quebec, and it does mention an expansion in Ontario with a new store in Ottawa. And then also overseas, there has been job listings in Singapore. And this was something that I was going to mention in because I wasn't sure if it was going to be in this article, but this was something that I saw recently as well, where they have a country manager job listing for Tesla coming up for Australia and a few other job listings for Singapore specifically. So they are expanding onto that Australian market as well, which I think is huge. And then as it says right here, this kind of touches on what we mentioned just a few minutes ago, in which it states the success of Made in China Model 3 produced at Gigafactory Shanghai. Tesla is also massively expanding its retail presence in China with hundreds of new sales positions open in the country. I think that's absolutely huge. I think that's where Tesla can really benefit right now if they expand greatly into China. China is a huge potential market for Tesla. And it also states Tesla is rapidly increasing its retail presence in China, starting with the mega cities and expanding to other less densely populated regions. And then finally, Tesla has its eyes set on France. So I love the fact that Tesla is thinking worldwide expansion here. This is exactly what you want to see out of a company that expects to grow in the future. So it seems like they're doing all of the things right that they can do right now. As we know, Tesla is a one big optimized machine, and I have faith in them being able to successfully expand in the future. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I thought this was a pretty valuable piece of information to share with you all. So as always, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to smash that like button. It really does help me out. And also feel free to sign up to Robinhood and Webull in the description below. If you sign up with my referral link, then you'll get some free stocks. And especially with Webull right now, you can get up to 60 free stocks depending on how much you deposit. So that's nice passive income. And if you're planning on investing anyways and you're looking for some free money, then that's a pretty decent opportunity. But I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week.